Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. In today's show, we are going to recap Subspectrum 7, Fight to Win 102 in Houston, Texas, the Midwest Finishers inaugural event, Spyder Korea Qualifier, and then we are going to preview the Ultimate Mat Warriors 4, Kasai Pro 5, the 205-pound qualifier, Fight to Win 104 in Dallas, Texas, SOGI 1. We're also going to talk about Grappling Industries Spriggs versus Jones. And we're going to talk about the UAE King of Mats, the lightweights.
Woo.
As always, I'm your host, Maine, here joined by co-host
Emil.
How you doing, Emil?
I'm doing great, man. Last week, I gotta say, holy shit, it was great to have Josh back. I was laughing so fucking hard at last week's episode.
We got a bunch of messages on like that one segment with Josh going off and just like cutting me off. Like I was doing the intro to the event and like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna talk about for the event. And Josh goes, fuck that, I'm cutting you off, and just goes into this rant about the BJJ
It's
Stars
beautiful.
incident.
Like, those of you who know Josh Weinstock, his rants are just the fucking
That's
best.
every day. Like I have to cut a couple of those out of the show almost every time we record because they become too inappropriate.
I almost like look forward to bad things happening just to get Josh's take on them.
Just call him on Skype on a message like, hey, Josh, something bad happened. I mean, I can be quiet for the next like 2 to 3 minutes. Go.
Knock yourself out.
So as far as that goes, let's move into some news. I mean, we're going to start with news. I've got a little bit of news.
I got some really important news. Robbie Lawler was unconscious.
All right, so let's go back to that. We don't usually cover MMA, but it's submission-y, and it's interesting enough that we want to talk about it.
And there's a lot of controversy.
There's a ton of controversy. And actually, you and I
finished arguing about this.
Just finished arguing in my kitchen aggressively about this.
I don't think Robbie was actually unconscious. I do think he was not defending, and like the so-called.
We're talking about. So to jump ahead here, we're talking about UFC 235, Ben Askren versus Robbie Lawler.
Amazing but short fight.
Yeah.
Incredible on both sides. There was, I don't even know the pro wrestling move. Some people are calling it an F5.
I don't give a shit.
It was one of the best slams I've ever fucking seen.
Robbie Lawler dumped Askren on his head.
Oh,
hard.
Dude, it was a
and
slam
then almost
and
finished him. And then at some point in the bout, Robbie Lawler is in a Askren has Robbie Lawler in a bulldog choke, and a bulldog choke is like a schoolyard
front headlock.
It's a schoolyard headlock. It's a bully.
It's a
choke.
headlock, but like Askren, of course, is a grappling genius, and like he was pointing his hips up at the ceiling, like he was leaning the fuck into that.
And Robbie's hand kind of drops down. Then Herb checks his hand.
Not kind of drops down. It was like limp on the mat, and then Herb comes along, checks his hand, and Robbie kind of pulls it up in his center, and people say that he gave a thumbs up. It wasn't like a corny thumbs up or anything like that. His hand kind of like was still level to the ground. And
there's an alternate angle of this that I saw that actually made it look a little more convincing. But again, it's super weird. As a dude that goes unconscious 3 to 4 times a year.
As our resident unconscious
I wish
expert.
there was a better way to put that. Like if you go limp like that and you drop, the second the choke is like let go, you don't come back that quick. That's my biggest argument for why I don't think he was unconscious, because
he wasn't like unconscious sleeping, but I've been put out before.
If your hands drop, like if you drop like that and like it looked like he dropped, if you let the choke go even 3 seconds, even for like the guy's not awake, like he's not doing well. He is falling over if the choke is let go. If he's that unconscious, his hands
there are. It's a spectrum. Like I was on the lighter end of the spectrum when I was put out. Like
I mean, you have one data point. I've got a grappling history of unconscious data points that I'm basing.
I was
on.
moving around even though my brain wasn't functioning.
And you weren't asleep yet.
No, I know, but like that. I don't think you have to be snoring on the fucking ground for the ref to stop it. Because the thing is, like,
I'm saying, but for your hand, they're saying he was out. Like they're saying he was out because his hand dropped. If that's your criteria, then when you let go of the choke, the rest of the body drops. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying he probably wasn't.
What's another 3
out.
fucking seconds? He wasn't. He literally was not doing anything. What's another 3 seconds?
So we can make arguments about it. Emil and I disagree about this vehemently. Is that the word, vehemently?
Yes, that's right.
Vehemently.
I love both fighters.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I don't like
Robbie
Askren.
Lawler's the man.
Askren annoys the shit.
And he was actually like super classy about his loss.
Robbie's always classy.
Yep.
He's always he's been a great guy. Hope to see them both fight in the octagon again soon. Hopefully, eventually, we'll see the rematch, and we get to watch Askren get slammed on his face one more time.
Absolutely.
So, in other news, Pantheon has their video. Pantheon Grappling, we kind of talk about it every week. They now have their videos up, and they're going to get featured on, I think, one of the UK broadcasters. I think it's Sky Sports, I think, which is cool because that means grappling is actually getting on TV in the UK, which is kind of a big deal for the sport in general. I don't really have any other information about that, but I thought it was really cool and thought it was newsworthy. In other news, Gordon Ryan had his surgery. It is successful, and he is still on for the IBJJF Grand Prix at this time. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, but like it puts him in a bad spot. Even if his knee is ready for that tournament, like it's gonna eat into his training time.
So I realize I'm really stupid.
What?
This is last week's news.
Outstanding.
I kid you not. I'm looking. I was like, why is the date wrong on this? Oh yeah, this is what I had for last week. So we're gonna cut for a second. And after a quick smash cut, we are back with the current week's news for once. Pantheon BJJ Stars now has their pay-per-view up. If you purchased it, you can go back and rewatch it. I think it's up. I don't know if it's up for a limited amount of time or a longer amount of time, but it is now up. You can go watch it. There were some fun matches that are worth a rewatch if you didn't get a chance to. Let's see, in other news. Oh, yeah, so in other news, Conor McGregor hinted at a grappling match during some of the promo footage for Polaris 9. He has competed before. There's footage of him at the Europeans in the gi at like a purple belt.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's done stuff, so it's not honestly out of the realm of possibility. What that price tag would be crazy.
Yeah, I don't see how they make that happen,
I think you have to talk about like Gordon Galvao money to get him to do that. Also, somebody actually posted in one of the comments, him versus Poirier, Dustin, as like a
grappling
match?
A
rematch, because Dustin's a black belt as well.
That's so fucking stupid. I don't even want to like.
You don't want to entertain it?
I don't even want to like. Let's move on. That's just dumb.
All right, João Gabriel is now cancer free. That's great.
That's great.
Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, ADCC invites are out, and it is a super exciting list. I am super excited about it.
Yeah, interesting. I
have a list up here.
You want to read? Okay, we can go through the whole thing. Let's do it.
Basically, oh God, this is formatted in a really screwy way. Men's under 66 kilogram division. We have Cobrinha. He's the champion from 2017. We have
automatic bid.
Yep, we have the first European trials winner, Zach.
Zaur Akhmedov.
Zach, Jesus. Yeah, you read the names. What am I doing here?
Okay. First North American trials winner, Ethan Krellinston. Second American trials winner, Nikki Ryan. Invited, Geo Martinez. Invited, AJ Agazarm. Invited, Tanquinho.
Augusto Mendes.
And invited Shane Jamil Hill Taylor.
You're using like the sexy voice from Red. You're like, invited.
Yeah.
Like it's a sweet.
It's more like...
That's an exciting list, honestly.
It's an exciting list. It's a fucking peculiar one.
Yeah, it's a little odd.
It's a peculiar fucking list.
But ADCC invites are always a little odd.
Yeah, I don't, with all respect to Geo, I just don't get that invitation. Like, think about it. Like, you can invite anyone. Like, you and me, you can invite anyone in the under 66 kilograms. Anyone?
He's been to ADCC before.
He's a veteran.
And he's looked good before, and he's had good matches before.
I remember...
And he's had tough matches with, top guys. So, I mean, I kind of understand
the thing that he's won in the past 2 years since the last ADCC, which, I mean, he didn't win either, was... Quintet. And it was an amazing performance that he did. But, that's a team win, Yeah. He hasn't gone through,
and he beat some other people, some good people, and he had a good match with Satoshi Ishii. But in his weight class,
I will take Geo. Certainly, AJ is another one where I'm just like.
But again, another guy that's looked good in ADCC before, didn't win, but has been at that level. I understand them a little bit. They are a little. I don't know. How do you pick? It's basically how do you pick? There's so many top level guys to pick from. Where I think you can pick apart any matchup. Like Shane, I know primarily as a gi guy, looks amazing in no-gi. And he's
Shane makes total sense.
Oh, I'm saying that even guys that make total sense, we can
inviting a world champion. Inviting a world champion makes sense for that year.
You have three. Okay, AJ, no-gi world champion. Taquinho,
no,
gi world champion.
We're not counting no-gi, man.
But it's ADCC.
It's ADCC, but a no-gi champion is not the same thing as a gi champion.
Yeah. And so Shane and Taquinho are both gi world champions.
Correct.
The weight class.
So those make sense.
And honestly, regardless, all four of those guys will come and perform. and make the weight and be professional.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's one thing I'm happy about. Next division, men's under 77 kilogram division. We have the 2017 champion returning JT Torres.
First European trials winner, Ross Nichols. First North American trials winner, John Satava. Second North American trials winner, John Combs. Invited, Vagner Rocha.
Fuck yeah.
Invited, Dillion Dannis. Invited, Oliver Taza. Invited, Edwin Najmi. Again, huge names, and we fucking love Vagner Rocha on this fucking podcast.
Yes.
So he puts on entertaining bouts no matter what. I'm totally
and he's
down
an
with
ADCC
that.
veteran. He's a multiple-time medalist at ADCC for, I think, at least 2, if not 3 different ADCCs. I know 2.
Yep.
But so perennial top guy. That's a no-brainer for a guy to select.
Yep.
And Mojasm on our Instagram basically posted why Dylan got the invite. And I was like, okay, that actually makes sense.
Yeah. I guess they go on past performances.
Past performances. He has no team conflicts.
Yeah, and Dylan, for better or worse, I mean, he's an aggressive grappler. So
and he is accomplished. As much as guys hate him, like he's a really good grappler.
Yeah,
it is interesting to see him at under 77 kilograms, though, because I
Yep.
thought he was bigger. And that was also discussed a little bit during this week of, like, can he make under 77 kilograms?
Hey, that's the invite. Yeah. Oliver Taza, Edwin Najmi, sure.
Both perennial top guys.
It makes me wonder, maybe Kron's completely out of it because he's focusing on MMA now. Like, do you think he's just not doing...
You think he would have got an invite as well?
I just wonder. I wonder if they sent invites out and then people declined, and then these are the people that accept. You know what I'm saying?
Because everyone, I think if you get an ADCC invite, you go to ADCC, no matter what else you're doing.
Why wouldn't you pick Kron Gracie?
I don't know, but maybe because he hasn't grappled in 3 or 4 years. Like I haven't seen him in we have not covered him in a grappling bout on this show.
Right.
Since the lifetime of this show. I don't think he's had a grappling bout since he started in Ryzen 2016.
Yeah,
maybe?
I think he must be focusing on MMA.
He's got to be. And so you have, again, he probably can compete at the level of ADCC because we've seen him do it before versus guys like Marcelo. But yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, because guys were posting their emails.
Yep.
Because I assume if you get the email, you take it, basically.
So men's under 88 kilogram, first European trials winner, Adam Wardzinski. First North American trials winner, Alec Balding. Second North American trials winner, Josh Hanger, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Invited Zanji. Invited Kit Dale. Invited Rustam Chizev. Invited Craig fucking Jones. Yeah.
I like how everyone curses. Actually, you curse for anything, Mil, but like everyone curses Craig fucking Jones.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know what his middle name is.
It's his branding, man.
His branding is fuck Craig Jones. That's his branding.
Yeah,
but like we call him Craig fucking Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Craig. It's not Craig.
Oh
it's
yeah, Craig. I forgot.
Which I've been specifically. I was like, if I'm gonna get one name right, because we're gonna run into him at ADCC. I have a feeling. I don't want to call him, hey, what's up, Craig Jones? Like, oh no, I called him the wrong name.
We'll train you up for that one.
We're going to try.
Okay, so men's under 99 kilograms. Do you want to start it off?
Oh, yeah, 2017 champion Yuri Simoes.
2017 88 kilogram champion Gordon Ryan.
I think it's funny that he's moving up.
Yep.
He's not making under 88 anymore.
No, dude, no fucking way.
But he's not above 99, which I'm happy. I think under 99 kilograms is a good place for him. We're gonna see the rematch with Yuri, so that'll be good. That rematch of rematches.
First European trials winner, Pertu Teppanen. First North American trials winner, Tim Spriggs. Second North American trials winner, Mason Fowler. Invited Ben Hodgkinson. Invited Mahamed Aly. Invited Patrick Gaudio. Invited Vinny Magalhaes. Invited Lucas the Hulk Barbosa. Holy shit.
This is a crazy division.
That's fucking nuts. So
every single one of those
murderer's row of
matchups,
a division. Yeah.
Every first round matchup is gonna be like, oh, that's a good matchup. That's like there is not a single guy in this entire list that I would not want to see against anyone else on this entire list in the first round.
Yeah, no.
Like that's amazing.
That's gonna be dope.
That's a great. I mean, honestly, that's kind of ADCC in general. But 99 kilograms has a lot of those like star guys. Like again, Mahamed Aly, your current 2018 world champion in the gi. Vinny Magalhaes is Vinny Magalhaes. Lucas Hulk Barbosa. Also the world champion this year?
World champion.
Yeah, world champion
Why do you keep forgetting that?
Dude, because him and Gaudio went back and forth, and I always, for some reason, think that Gaudio took that match in my head. I have no idea why. because it's a routine thing that I go like, is it the world champion? Like, yeah, he's the fucking world champion this year. So on to the last men's division, the plus 99 kilogram division, the 2017 returning champion Buchecha, Marcos Almeida.
Well, I mean, we could probably stop reading there because
why are you hating?
I'm not hating. I'm just saying
these are gonna be a good matchup.
He's gonna fucking win.
Buchecha might get old. He might injure his shoulder.
First European trials
know.
winner, Eldar Rafagev. First North American trials winner, Aaron Tex Johnson. Second North American trials winner, Nick Rodriguez. Invited, Cyborg, Roberto Abreu. Invited, Jared Dopp. Invited, Kanan Duarte. Really fucking talented people.
This is a fun division.
It's a fun division.
But Buchecha's hard to beat, like you said, but it's a fun division. Dude, he's not only like, he's the most dominant dude in the history of the sport.
Yep.
The only dude that beats him on a regular basis is Hodger, and then we saw João Gabriel like add him out on BJJ Stars like last week.
Yeah.
Other than that, like very, very few guys can beat him, and it's exciting. So on to the women's under 60 kilogram division. We have the 2017 returning champion Beatriz Mesquita.
North American trials winner Jenna Bishop. Invited, Elvira Karpinen.
The women's above 60 kilogram division, we have the 2017 returning champion Gabby Garcia.
North American trials winner Amanda Leve. Invited, Jessica Flowers.
I love how now that we have a video up for this, everyone can see when I throw it to you with my finger. And I'm like, I can't read that name, and I throw it, and I do that little sand signal you do. So this has been going on for literally like 69 episodes on the show. Whoever the co-host is that week, when I get scared about a name, I just go, "Hoo," and like I'm making a motion for the audio listeners, and I basically push like my thumb at the other person, like, hey, take this name so I don't mess it up. So that's super exciting. I am amped about ADCC. I love ADCC. It is the most funnest thing that we cover, I think.
Yep.
Just because it's got such a cool run up. Like it's so hard to get into. It's always all the best guys that are like legitimately wanting to get into it and vying for a spot. It's every 2 years. It's got this super strange trials process where you earn a spot through a crazy tournament. So it's dope. I'm looking forward to covering the other European trials, looking forward to covering the Brazilian trials and the rest of the stuff in the run-up to ADCC. And I think that's all the news that I have. Let's see. In my new notes, I have ADCC invites. I'm excited as fuck. Let's see. I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. So on to our recap of the Spyder Korea Qualifier 1. This event took place on March 2nd, 2019, and had a 76 kilogram bracket, an under 76 kilogram bracket, and an under 100 kilogram bracket. In the 76 kilogram bracket, we had
Mateus Lutes, Daniel Sattler, Augusto Tanquinho Mendez, Lucas Rocha, Matias Luna, Levi Jones-Leary, Osvaldo Mozinho, Sungayun Lee.
And in the under 100 kilogram bracket, we had
Roberto Jimenez, Anderson Muniz, Claudio Calasanz, Marcos Tinoco, Timothy Michael Spriggs, Hudson Mateus, Michael Mateus Dennis, and Hyungchil Kim.
All right, so where do you want to start on this one? Want to start at the 76 kilogram division, or you want to start with something else? So basically what this is you win Spyder, you get a slot into the next event that they have in November. They run like 2 of these a year. It's always a lot of fun. You see a mix of the belts in this event. Basically,
which
get
props to them. Whoever did the matchmaking did an amazing job, because there was purple belts mixed in with brown and black belts. Brown belts were obviously in there as well. And the matches were fucking competitive.
Yeah, there's no guy that they put in here that was like blown out. There was not a single match where someone got blown out of the water.
Yeah,
at all. It was always competitive. Somebody may have got points scored on them, but it was always competitive, and it was always kind of like a nail-biter. This event reminds me a ton of the Joel Tudor Invitational, the event that happens like the next weekend after the Worlds every year, and it always showcases a bunch of purple belts, brown belts, and like and they have like mixed matches, and they have guys that typically are in different weight classes that don't usually meet each other in that event. It has a lot of the same vibe as that event, and it's awesome. I really enjoyed like the entire event watching it through.
Yeah, this event was great. They have 7-minute rounds, which makes it like much more digestible.
Well, it's the IBJJF rule set, which we have our feelings on, and Mia we had a 15-minute discussion beforehand. I'm like, wait, why is this?
It's more like a crash course in teaching Emil IBJJF rules, because he doesn't fucking compete.
Because Emil had some questions. She's like, okay, he comes up like, there's this weird rule here, and I went, I don't know about that rule at all. And then I watched the match Emil was talking about and went, oh no, that's a sweep. And he goes, he didn't sweep anything. Like, so basically what happens if you have two guys that pull guard in IBJJF.
Yeah, we'll talk about this a little bit, but yeah.
If you have two guys that pull guard, the first guy to come up gets sweep points. And Emil thought it was if you both pulled guard or something like that, then one guy, the second, you thought it was a different thing. Basically, somebody would get a takedown off of that is what it was counted as.
Yeah.
And so it was an education for Emil of like IBJJF rules because you're a rule aficionado, Emil.
Yes. Evidently.
So it was a lot of fun. We had Shane Jamil Hill Taylor on commentary. I really enjoyed it. He was a little quiet for the event, but he was super knowledgeable. Yeah, and he knows the lapel grips and he knows the gi game really, really well. And he's competed against a bunch of these guys. He trains with some of these guys. So it was cool. Again, I love seeing and hearing high-level IBJJF guys on the mic and on commentary because they always do. I mean, I don't think there's been a single guy, high-level IBJJF guy, that I've ever heard on commentary that's been bad. And this was no different. So really, really cool explanations at certain points when things got weird.
Yeah, let's get into it. So in the under 76 kilogram bracket, Matheus Lutz defeats Daniel Sattler by submissions Kimura. This was pure domination by Matheus Lutz.
Dude, this was the opening bout, and I was like, and again, Matheus Lutz is
a savage.
He's a dude that brings the pressure and brings the intensity and the speed really, really quickly. Pretty much in all the matches I've seen him compete against, he is out there immediately.
I can't remember, his matches are always entertaining. If you listen to the podcast and you haven't watched one of his matches, go back and watch it. He's fucking awesome. He's incredible. This was pure domination. He was in side control, gets Kimura grip, rips it across.
Dude, I saw that the angle on the Kimura is brutal because you see him lift the Kimura up and rip it and then turn it even more and bring it the entire way behind Daniel Sattler's back. And it was like, Jesus. And he honestly, I thought Sattler's arm was going to be super messed up. He gets up, his arm seems fine, but it was just a vicious, quick, high level, high speed Kimura across the body. Super impressive way to start off the event and great performance.
So then we have Augusto Taquinho Mendez defeating Lucas Rocha by points.
Then at one point, Rocha almost hit something called a crowbar sweep, and the commentary was talking about it, and I was trying to basically figure out what that sweep was. I'm not familiar with the name of that sweep being called a crowbar sweep.
Yeah, everyone has different names for stuff. For example, later on, there was a John Wayne sweep that they called something completely different, So yeah, I mean,
one of these days I want a giant Excel sheet or a big ass diagram with the names of all these sweeps and positions and all their alternate names.
Yeah.
And where this is a Pedro Serrano name for it. This is a 10th Planet name for it. And just a giant list.
There's no way to track it. That shit changes so fucking often.
I know, but I would love a list. A balloon sweep. Oh, it's this sweep. Okay.
So, next match we got Levi Jones-Leary beating Matias Luna by advantage 3-1. Osvaldo Moisinho beats Sang-Yoon Lee by submission armbar. This was fucking great.
It's a really odd armbar, too.
Yeah, so what happens is Osvaldo has lasso guard on Sang-Yoon, and he launches into an omoplata. And at this point, he doesn't rotate his hips all the way around in order to get to a traditional armbar position.
He's on his back.
He's on his back, and all he's doing is, so he's got his leg kicked over into an omoplata position, and he's on his back, and he's just basically brute forcing the arm because he has it trapped. He's like, I don't need to get my hips completely rotated around.
It was almost over the thigh. It was really strange. I'd watch it. I watched it a couple times, and then eventually in my notes, I just went, he goes for a really odd armbar off of the lasso guard, and even the commentary didn't see it coming.
It was an omoplata position, basically, but he's just yanking it.
Yeah.
It was across his thigh.
It was super.
Instead of over his hips.
Super weird to see. Cool, great submission, though. And I like seeing these unorthodox submissions, especially from a high-level dude.
Yep. So, in the semifinals, we have Matheus Lutz beating Taquinho by decision. This was explosive stand-up, man. Holy shit. It's no joke. Matheus Lutz is fucking savage.
Dude, he's just so strong. And you see him grab guys, and Taquinho is no joke. And then you saw Lutz just rip and grip and go. You're like, wow, he's he is very young and very strong, and life has not caught up to him yet.
No, not at all, man.
In a big way. It was, and it just looked like, and the commentary talked about it, where it's like Matheus Lutz isn't the biggest guy, and he was still like bigger than Tiquinho, which I think was one of the smaller guys in this bracket. But again, I like Spyder because you see guys that typically don't match. I guess this was a brown and black belt match, but guys that typically don't get matched up because of the weight differences, all in these like pretty much larger weight classes. So you get to see cool matchups like this that, you know, you don't see a whole lot unless it's like a pro style invitational event.
Okay, next up we have Osvaldo Moisinho defeating Levi Jones Leary by what, man?
Decision.
That's right. This was, you got to go back and watch this match just for the commentary because they do such a fucking good job breaking down what the typical IBJJF criteria is for winning a decision when you're in guard versus passing, blah, blah, blah. The reason why this is fucking incredible is because Levi Jones Leary won a, to me, controversial rest decision over Lucas Lepre in their weight division at European this year.
Like a couple weeks ago.
Well, yeah, like I think a month and a half ago.
Was it that long ago?
I think so.
Dude, this all blends together now.
Yeah.
Eventually, after a year and a half of this, it all just blends. It's the same week repeated.
But yeah, it's just incredible because there was that huge upset win that he had over Lucas Lepre, who's a fucking outlier as we talk about. And here, Levi Jones Leary's on the receiving end of a fucking shitty decision. And
I have one note for this match. It's live by the decision, die by the decision.
That's fucking right, dude. Like, it's I completely disagree with scoring criteria for rest decision. Like, so what the commentary was saying was that in IBJJF it used to be that if someone had closed guard, the passer would generally lose.
Yeah.
If he was outside of the closed guard and still passing, the passer would win.
Because he's being more active in trying to get past the legs.
Yes, I think generally speaking, unless the passer is being fucking egregious, it should be on the fucking passer.
I think
the passer should win.
No, it should be on the, for stalling, I think
stalling should be on the guard player.
Right, but it's not, because stalling's on the top position player.
Yeah, I think that's so stupid.
And I just think, I don't know, we get into weird like little things for rules, but I thought it was really interesting to hear the commentary specifically talk about it.
They did such a good job at breaking it down. So, yep.
On to the next match. We had the finals, Matheus Lutz versus Osvaldo Moisinho. With Moisinho. Dude, this is why I don't read the names. We're years into this. This is why I don't read the names.
This is just, again, fucking savagery by Matheus Lutz. Like, it's encapsulated by this end, like, sequence where Osvaldo is like, just goes balls out, gets an awesome ankle pick grip at the end, and Matheus just like grabs like kind of like a head and arm grip and just fucking,
not even a head and arm. He grabs like a body lock from the back and just
throws.
Like, you ever seen like a guy throw like a bag of grain where he like wraps it with his chest and just chucks it? Like, that's what it looked like. And they were kind of going out of bounds, and he throws him back into bounds, and it was like, Jesus. This match is really cool though, because at one point it had some really cool positional stuff. You saw some really nice gi passing from Matheus, like outside far grips with the Toreandos, like doing throw by passing. You saw Moisinho invert a lot. Really, really active, good match. At one point, Osvaldo has the lapel, and he's going for like variations of lasso grips and like different lapel sweeps. And Lutz puts the gi into his mouth. Like the tip of the gi into his mouth. And I went, I've seen that before. And then I was thinking about, like, why would he do that? And I was like, well, he can't really hold the grip. And then the commentary kicks right in and goes, and Shane explains exactly why he would use that grip, how he's using it. Basically, he's using it so he can know when the grip is stripped, because you're not going to ever hold the gi with your teeth. Like, you can't hold on to the grip, but you can feel when it moves. So he'll feel when the grip moves to be passed under his own leg. And so he doesn't have to basically pay attention to the grip because it's already in his teeth. Really cool, like. And I had all these different, in my notes, I was starting to type up like what I thought was happening. And then Shane just comes and explains exactly what's happening. It was a really cool moment, because you saw that, like, oh man, this is a dude, these both guys understand the high level jiu-jitsu at that level. And it was just a really cool moment. This
is incredible because, Matheus Lutz wins.
A brown belt.
A brown belt. And then the third place match is Levi Jones Leary versus Tiquinho. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Yeah. Just like, that's just such an unreal matchup for third place. Like,
yep. And Levi Jones-Leary is able to get that on point 6-0.
Let's talk about that match. It's an awesome inverted sweep, like to crab ride to back take. Like, it was just absolutely. And
Taquinho stands up, and you really can't get anything going after the back take happens. Interesting. I think everyone on this event, I think Spriggs does this. I think Levi Jones-Leary does this. They initially put the hooks in to get the points, and then as soon as the points are there, they go to the body triangle.
Yep.
Like no one wants the hooks anymore.
Yep.
Like you don't see guys ever play from the hooks. They go to the hooks, they look, they get their points, and they switch to the body triangle.
I think it was in finishers this weekend. They also, like, the commentators were talking about that too.
Because
Like,
it's been a shift in the meta, but I think nowadays you're even seeing all the high level guys. I don't know of a single guy that still uses the hooks preferentially over the body triangle.
Yeah.
Like you just don't see it anymore. So I think potentially we're going to see a change in scoring in the next 5 years for that.
Hopefully, because it's a fucking great position.
Yeah.
So on to the under 100 kilogram division. Anderson Muniz, the fucking purple belt, defeats Roberto Jimenez by DQ, although he was up on points anyway.
Yes. So you had some thoughts about this.
I had some thoughts. So first off, Muniz is he's incredible. Like, I was like, why is this? I truthfully don't know a whole lot about him. He's a purple belt, and
he's an IBJJF guy. He's a purple belt, and I think he's again on the guy in that world stage. I don't know if he's won worlds or again. This is where I'm again ignorant as well, and I'm going to be open to ignorant.
I would be terrified if he did not win worlds the way he performed this way. If there are purple belts running around, we don't know, better than him.
to be fully honest, we cover between 3 and 6 events a weekend.
Yeah, it's
usually
it's hard to keep an eye
up with
on
that
purple belts,
and with. We just cover it's hard to keep up with the black belts on major events. Better yet, the brown belts on major events and the purple belts. So it's like, I'm sorry, like I don't know enough about. Obviously don't know as much about this guy as I should.
He hits a fucking savage sweep against Roberto Jimenez, and Roberto Jimenez is so fucking explosive and like an incredible pressure jiu-jitsu player.
Yeah,
it's nuts that he's able to just sweep him. It looks pretty much effortlessly. And
Anderson's a big dude too.
Yeah,
don't get it wrong. Like this comes up later in the matchups. You see how big Anderson is and how he has just like a pretty freakish frame for this size.
Yeah, he's pretty dominant. And towards the end of the match, Roberto throws up kind of like what I'll call like a desperation straight ankle lock. Like
you're down on points. You're trying to go for a sub towards the end of the match.
Yeah.
He throws up a straight ankle lock.
It's not the cleanest thing ever. You know, it's not like you set it up gorgeously. It's more like you're trying to force your way into that position. And this is where the DQ occurs because basically Anderson is kind of like he's up on his hips.
Almost like
squatting.
in a what's the yoga position called? Like upward dog. You're in a cat stretch almost.
Yeah, it's like a cat stretch. Yeah,
and Roberto has the foot, and he's going for the belly down ankle lock, and then he starts to apply pressure.
It's not quite belly. No, it's his belly's up, but like he's kind of rotating outwards, and that's where the DQ comes in. The refs say, stops the fight. The commentators call it before the refs say anything. He said, you're not allowed to, under IBJJF rules, apply pressure for straight ankle lock on the outside, which more or less means like. If you have the straight ankle lock, you can't be rotating out away from the other person.
You can't rotate in either.
Right.
So
it has to be, you have to be parallel with the other person.
Yeah.
Which is, it sounds fine because it, on paper, it sounds like, you're going to protect reaping. But just like reaping rules, it can be gamed. And this is where, even though he was up and was going to probably win anyway, Anderson knows the rules, and he basically sat there and complained to the ref. It wasn't like his knee was in danger, and if it was in danger, he could have sat back, but he, chose to sit there and kind of like gesture over at Roberto Jimenez. I don't feel good about that.
How do you feel about this rule, Emil?
I think it's a stupid-ass rule. I think there are plenty of injuries that happen in jiu-jitsu. I don't think like reaping and how you apply, straight ankle locks. Dude, we saw an injury this weekend from an Estima lock. It's like, if you're going to allow shit like Estima locks, like, someone should be able to, not have an ideal angle on the hips when you're applying a footlock.
It was odd, but again, it's in the rules and it's clearly defined. And like,
it's in the rules. Unfortunately,
it'd be one of those things that I'd be more upset about if both side refs, both commentators, and Anderson hadn't all kind of at the same time gone, this is illegal. Like, it wasn't.
Everyone,
it's not one of
everyone
those
was
weird
on the same
rules.
page.
Everyone was on the same page, and so
I
sucks.
just think it's a stupid rule. But I will say, fortunately, it didn't look like it impacted the outcome of this match.
No,
Muniz is fucking savage anyway, and he was up on points. So hey, it is what it is. So next match we have Claudio Calasanz defeating Marcos Tinoco by points 6-0. We have Tim Spriggs defeating Hudson Mateus by points 2-0. That was on a fucking ridiculous kind of like knee pick takedown.
Yeah. Tim scores off a foot sweep as Hudson's pulling guard, basically. So goes for the pull, and Tim's able to get basically the initiation on the takedown and get the points for it. So that was actually a really cool sequence.
Yeah, it was dope. Then we have Mateus Diniz defeating Jungchul Kim by points 13-0. That was probably one of the only lopsided beatdowns that we saw.
It was, but it wasn't even like, I wouldn't say it was even like super lopsided. It was just like one guy had the initiative and was able to get like from position to position to position through the series.
Yeah,
it didn't look like really like lopsided at any point. From a scoring perspective, it definitely was.
Half guard sweep to pass to mount to back take.
Yeah.
So in the semifinals. We have Claudio Calasanz defeating Anderson Muniz by ref's decision. Holy shit. I can't believe, Muniz is a purple belt going at it, is neck and neck with Claudio Calasanz. Would have won if it wasn't for this rookie mistake that Maine clarified, because I'm a fucking ignorant asshole when it comes to IBJJF rules.
But again, like, Emil, you have, like, I am a special breed of individual where my entire life revolves around, like, I go to my job, then I go home, and I do, and I watch, and I teach jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
That's all I do. You have, like, interests and hobbies and, like, other things in life that bring you, like, entertainment and joy. And, like, you probably watch TV occasionally.
Learning IBJJF rules does not bring me joy, but it was very educational and necessary.
Dude,
because
I've gone through different commissions, even and like read the amateur MMA rules from commission to commission because they're different. Like, that's what
you're
brings
like
me
fucking
joy.
Jiu-Jitsu Rain Man over here, dude.
Yeah, it's great. So, yeah.
So
I'm a strange man, so like I read the rules.
Josh, man.
I don't understand the rules very well, which is because the IBJJF rules are super complicated.
So
but I read them.
Calasanz gets 2 points off the bat because of this rookie mistake. Basically, there's a double guard pull, and the way Maine describes it, both people are seated. They have 20 seconds kind of to make something happen, and if anyone comes up during this time, it counts as a sweep, which is fucking
I think this is actually a different match. This is when Anderson rolls to his guard and gives Calasanz a sweep.
No. This was the match.
All right.
Yeah, this was the match where they misread it. Or Anderson makes the rookie mistake because he would have fucking won. So Calasanz gets the 2 points for this basically mistake sweep. If you go back and watch this match, you're gonna be like, oh my god, it's like a tech stand up, like a warm up tech stand up that he does. It's not like he pushes him back or anything. He literally just tucks his legs under him, comes up, and gets 2 points because of it. And fucking Muniz is able to sweep Claudio Calasanz with a John Wayne sweep, like the hard fucking way, and get 2 points like the legit way, which is crazy because if he hadn't made that mistake, he would have won.
Yeah.
A purple belt would have handily defeated Claudio Calasanz.
Not any black. I saw you say a black belt, like a good black belt,
yes.
A really, really top level black belt that got invited to a major like event that features really good people. So at this one point, I have a funny note in my match. At one point, Claudio has a omoplata on Anderson, and Anderson just stands up. And not like in the lift and like kind of struggle to get him up, but in the Derek Lewis just stand the fuck up kind of way, is the note I have in my notes here. I got a kick out of that. And it's just like you saw how big and strong Anderson was. I was like, ooh, this guy is definitely a guy to watch after this performance.
Yep, exactly. That's the takeaway. Watch Anderson Muniz 100%. He's a fucking savage. So then we have Tim Spriggs defeating Matheus Diniz by points, 3-0. This was a grinding knee cut. Like, Diniz went again for half guard. And I get that, everyone has specialties and stuff, but like, man,
dude,
half guard against like Tim Spriggs.
He has Tim Spriggs is known for two things really, really well. That train wreck throw he hits and his knee cut game.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he does.
Grinding the shit out of people.
But those are the two things that he is so good at.
Yeah.
And it's tough to beat him in either of those areas where it's like if he gets the grips on the gi, he's gonna train wreck you, and you'll see in the next match where we talk about that. And if you get in like a half guard, like, he's gonna drive that knee through your body to get past.
Yep, that's it.
So he points him 3-0. On to the finals match. We had Tim Spriggs versus Claudio Calazans.
And so this was Tim Spriggs wins 4-2.
This was cool. So the way Spriggs gets his 4 points is it's a big standing match for a big portion of the match, and then at one point you see Spriggs start to enter on his train wreck throw, and what he does is he does a series of snap downs while he's like running you backwards, and then he cuts a beautiful angle and snaps Claudio all the way to the mat, and Claudio, hip to Tim Spriggs and hip to what's happening, basically immediately gets to his like hands and feet and starts to stand, and Spriggs knows this and knows that he's not going to get takedown points on it, so he jumps onto the back, and he's able to get the back.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
It was a beautiful sequence. Like, this is exactly like the textbook of what the train wreck throw looks like. Just beautiful. And we saw Spriggs, because he's a veteran with the throw, identify, I'm not going to be able to settle on a takedown. Okay, I can go to the back from here, and he does it. And it's just outstanding, work.
So here on to the third place match.
Oh, so Spriggs wins.
Yeah,
Spriggs wins the under 100 kilogram division. So we have a third place match.
And this is fucking incredible again. Anderson Muniz defeating Matheus Diniz by points, or actually by advantage.
By one, they're tied on points, 2 points, and then he gets his one advantage over him.
So he beat fucking, like, he went toe-to-toe with Claudio Calazans.
Oh, yeah.
And, I think arguably beat him except for a dumb mistake. And then he fucking beats Matheus Diniz.
Impressive.
That's fucking impressive.
That's really impressive.
Jesus. Yeah,
Commentary kept calling him Denise, by the way.
Yeah, I've heard both. Like, I honestly have no idea which to go with.
I think it's Diniz.
Okay.
Because there's a Z and an N in it, and there's no, like, E. Because to make the
the E in Latin languages, in Romance languages, the I is frequently like an E sound.
I don't know why I'm arguing like phonetics of names, because I'm obviously not the name guy.
So, for example, Anderson Muniz, even though it's an I, it's...
Oh, yeah, look at that.
It's an E.
You ever like have an argument and then immediately gets derailed because you don't know about stuff? That just happened there.
Yeah, well, that happened earlier with me with the IBJJF rules. So, it happens to all of us. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to be going back and watching Anderson Muniz's video.
One piece in the third place match, Muniz at one point hits a seated ankle pick on Matheus. And it threw commentary off, threw me off, it threw Matheus off. Super cool. He's basically so long and he's such a tall guy for the division that Matheus is standing far enough out that he thinks he's safe, and Anderson is able to reach low and actually ankle pick him from a seated position. You don't see that a whole lot. That's he was impressive to watch in all these performances, but that alone was like, man, this is a guy to keep an eye on. And this is, again, why we cover the depth of events we cover, because occasionally you run into a guy like this, like, who is this guy? Doing amazing, exciting stuff?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to keep an eye on him.
Hell yeah.
So, anything else for Spyder?
That's it.
All right, that does it on our recap of Spyder Korea, the qualifiers. Looking forward to the event in November. So, on to our recap of Fight to Win 103 in Houston, Texas. This event paid at a total of $28,872 in salaries and commissions and was headlined by black belt Gutemberg Pereira versus Alexandro Sassoni.
Sacconi.
What'd I say?
Sassoni.
Did I immediately just mess it up?
Yeah, that was the mistake I made 2 weeks ago that Josh fucking called me out on last week.
So Gutemberg Pereira retains the Fight to Win heavyweight black belt title in the gi. I can't believe I just messed the name up. Like, we literally had stopped the recording for me to get the name correct, and then we got it correct, and then I immediately butchered
Well,
it.
you're just a black belt that fucking names up.
Professional, Emil.
Yeah.
Professional. So where do you want to start with this card?
Oh, we'll start at the top.
Let's start at the top. So onto the black belt results. Like I just said, Gutemberg Pereira defeated Alexandro via triangle.
Yeah, this was I love this finishing sequence. For mounts, it's one of my go-tos. It's a mounted triangle. And then,
the step over on this is really cool. Gutenberg steps all the way over to lock up the triangle for mount.
You can tell when people are proficient with this because, they do a one-step over. It's not
and
like
they lift the shoulders of their opponent up off the mat so their leg can fall behind them.
It's such
when
a
they lock up the
smooth,
triangle.
like beautiful, like I love it.
Dude, we have a guy at Hopkins that does this.
Yes.
And it just it throws me off because the guys that are really, really good at this particular kind of triangle, they cover a lot of space in a way that you don't see a lot of guys do. And so when they lock it up, they typically land right in the triangle on mount. Gutenberg rolls to his back, locks up the rest of the triangle, and gets the tap. Just amazing. It's impressive to see a guy of that size be able to hit a mounted triangle that smoothly.
Yep. Yeah, it's a stunning submission.
Gutenberg did not have hair when he won the title, by the way. I saw a picture of him. I was like, does he have hair now?
Oh, yeah, he has long hair.
And, dude, he was bald. He was, clean shaven, bald completely. And he has, little dreads now on top of his head. It threw me off completely. Not that it's relevant to the bout at all, but found it interesting.
So next we have Hanette Stack defeating Tubby Alquin. And
she becomes the black belt featherweight gi champion. You about to take my thing, Emil.
Woo!
Thanks for covering me there. It was a decision.
Roberto Yamashita defeats Jason Butcher by armbar. Joshua Adam defeats Danny Duckworth by armbar.
Great name.
Nicholas Green defeats Thomas Mancha by split decision.
Dude, I love how Nick Green will ref a bunch of matches, compete, and then ref a bunch of matches. That dude is busy all night as a dude on Fight to Win.
Drew Lockwood defeats Ed Ramos by decision. Daniel Galvao defeats Eugene Gutierrez by loop choke. This was submission of the night. This was so fucking sweet. This was a rolling loop choke, and it's such a great example of the gi mastership where you set your grips, and even if you lose position and you maintain your grips, you can still come back and get your submission.
The setup for this was amazing. So I'm going to butcher the names because they were both in different color gis, but I get confused with names sometimes. Is it Eugene has Galvao up in the guard and shakes him out of the guard, and then from the bottom Daniel is able to start to get some grips going, and then rolls underneath Eugene for the starts of a loop choke, and then keeps adjusting it, and you're looking at man, he really has to adjust it because the position has completely changed now from the bottom to as he sets in this loop choke.
Right. So he started off having a traditional loop choke position, and then as you said, rolled. So he's on his back and he's starting to lose position to finish, but then he rolls through and is able to keep it and gets the tap. It's exactly what people talk about when they say grip, live and die by the grips.
Oh yeah, it was just beautiful gripping sequence, and then again, deservedly submission of the night for the black belt. It's really cool sequence. I also a quick match too.
Yep.
It didn't last that long. He just grabs it, rolls, and is able to get it. And again, it's not in my understanding of loop chokes and what I see, you do not see this particular kind of loop choke finished very often. He had an inside grip when he finished. Super nifty choke.
So next we have Stephen Hall defeating Dean Zino by triangle. Julian Vega defeats Ruben Coronado by decision.
And that was fight of the night for the black belts.
This is a great match. It's got inversions, sweeps, toe holds. Ruben has an incredible lapel guard, and clearly someone has been watching Keenan's DVDs.
Keenan's lapel anthology on worm guard DVD.
Because this was, he was using some, permutation of the worm guard here. And he had
I've got to learn these grips because I watched
was
guys
just thinking that. I was like, it's starting to become frequent enough that I need a
and also
I have a better understanding of the 10th planet system, and I don't know shit about the 10th planet system.
That's good. That's honesty with the viewers, Emil.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know things where we've watched enough events with commentary that can follow it, but most commentary can't fully describe the new lapel meta that's coming.
And they honestly can't describe it at a speed in the position, so because there's so many, there's kind of usually 3 or 4 permutations anytime from those guards. That's kind of what Keenan, the hallmark a lot of the Keenan system stuff is okay, there's 3 options from here if they do X, Y, or Z, and you have to kind of explain them all quickly enough so that you're not doing what Dominic Cruz does and talking about positions that are no longer there as commentary. So I gotta learn the leg positions right now, which I'm getting better at. I talked about that at the end of last 2018. I was like, okay, I got to learn the names of the leg positions. I'm better at that, but I've also got to learn like all of these lapel guards, like the neck ringworm guard, squid guard, worm guard, the other
reverse de la worm,
4 other worm guards, so, gubber guard.
So Ruben has a fucking ridiculous, some kind of worm guard variant back take.
Technical term.
And Julian escapes, and he's like, that's not happening again. And he like just kicks on the afterburners, puts the pressure on, he passes, and then he just has this beautiful step over to mount. And he ends up getting the decision off of his sheer dominance in that. So next up we have Ignacio Neto defeating Roger Nevarez by triangle. Marcus Bello defeats Brian Marvin by split decision. Marcelo Urapuru defeats Alex Henley by decision. Isai Cabrera defeats Rolly Delgado by decision. Joe Dirksching defeats CJ Hancock by heel hook. Davin Ordinario defeats Washington Lewis by decision.
And on to the black belt judo results. We had Seth Daniels taking on Jamie Lascon, and Seth wins by decision. This is Seth had neck surgery or back surgery?
I think it was
he had some kind of spinally cord surgery less than a week, or like I think less than 7 days before this match, and was still like, nah, I'm gonna take a black belt judo match, the first judo match I've taken in 12 years.
So he has, the Maine Miller approach to,
recovery. I
evidently.
took time off. Like right now, I'm not training. I'm just teaching and yelling at college students how to do jiu-jitsu, and doing a lot for the podcast right now because I'm sad that I can't train. Like I took time off, and I'm resting my body. I'm on tons of ibuprofen.
Good.
I'm using arch support for my back. I'm doing the exercises.
Good.
Hopefully, I can one day train again. But Seth Daniels is a gangster for taking this match. He hasn't done a judo match in 12 years, wins a decision, and had neck surgery last week. Like, you can't write a better story.
Yep.
There's an article on Jiu Times about this, about the whole thing, and it's just crazy. Props to Seth for
both organizing and winning this.
King of the meatheads.
Yes.
Gotta be.
So
onto the brown belt results.
We got Dinko Bektik defeating Ryan Walsh by decision.
And he becomes the fight to win adult heavyweight brown belt gi champion. That was a mouthful.
Chris Robertson defeats Carlos Silva by decision.
And he retains the Masters brown belt super heavyweight title.
Alex Lane defeats Danny Koo by bow and arrow.
And that was submission of the night for the brown belts.
That was a fucking great submission.
It was submission of the night for the brown belts. I would hope it was.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it was fucking nuts. So Alex hits a closed guard flower sweep, and at this point, Danny kind of like, he posts up to defend, so he doesn't get swept over entirely. He puts his hands on the mat and then gets to kind of like a turtle position standing, and so Alex is on the back doing that, like, backpacking thing where you're kind of like upside down, just like,
you're trying to get shucked off, but you're not gonna let the guy shuck you off, but you're not in a real great position to like.
Well, he was totally comfortable. I mean, he sets up his bow and arrow grip here, and then once he's got like a nice deep grip there, he takes his free hand and he swims it under the leg and he underhooks it. But at this point, rather than finishing the bow and arrow in kind of the traditional position where both people's bellies are facing up, both are facing down. So Danny's in a turtle kind of position, and Alex is yanking his leg out. And actually, the commentators called this a Sulabov stretch, which it wasn't really, but
it was similar.
It was similar.
Like the mechanism of it, and like from the back, you underhook the leg and lift up the leg, the hamstring stretch. Like, it's similar. I don't think it's exactly, but again, a Sulabov stretch is like, I've seen it a couple times. We saw it recently in MMA, but I honestly don't know enough about the intricacies of that position to figure out like what would be termed a Sulabov stretch or what wouldn't be termed. If it's just a different position to finish it in, or would you actually call it a different finish?
Yeah, I think this is just a bow and arrow finish, and a really fucking cool one too. So
deservedly submits the night for the brown belts. We'll go back and watch this finish.
So next we have Jacob Alfin defeating Kevin Cruz by split decision,
and that was fight of the night for the brown belts.
Yeah, this was, I mean, hilarious. Like, Kevin he walks out to Phil Collins, but they're both kind of fighting IBJJF style, so it was entertaining in that regard. It's very technical, but the submission attempts really came very late, like kind of almost in the last minute, couple minutes maybe.
Where we picked up the pace and really started going after the submissions.
Yeah, I feel like you gotta start working those earlier on. Like that's the point of the rule set.
The fight to win rule set, they're looking for you to be active with submissions and activity throughout the entirety of the match, because they weight submission attempts highest on the scoring criteria. Because there's no points. It's just that's the scoring criteria they're looking at.
Absolutely. So Joel Heinen defeats Joseph Sergiu by armbar. We have Ben Patno defeating Ryan Sheehan by decision. Jerome Roseborough defeats Alex Albert by decision. David Acosta defeats Eric Wright by heel hook. Leslie Christina McLeod defeats Rachel Beach by decision. Harry T.J. Montesinos defeats Orlando Rodriguez by guillotine.
On to the purple belt results.
We got Jules Blaffa Johnson defeats Scott Lanham by decision.
And that was fight of the night for the purple belts.
Brian Burnham defeats Ben Parker by armbar. Randy Baker defeats Corey McCoy by heel hook. Daryl Labus defeats Vinicius Silva by decision. Pedro Felipe Mourinho defeats Daniel Calvert by armbar.
And that was submission of the night for the purple belts.
Jay Mather defeats James Riley by decision.
On to the kids' results.
Moses Cabrera defeats Brody Banks by armbar.
And that was fight of the night for the kids.
Rafael Bamares defeats J.J. Schaefer by armbar. And Eddie Pugachev defeats Desmond Rubio by decision.
So that does it for our recap of Fight to Win 103. On to the next one. On to our recap of the Midwest Finishers inaugural event. Midwest Finishers won the lightweights. This event featured a 16-man lightweight bracket, and it was fun.
Yeah,
I thought I had more there, and I don't.
EBI rules.
EBI rules, yep. And it's this is the first time that the basically Finishers has come to the Midwest. Finishers now has a Finishers sub only, which is the East Coast, New Jersey, East Coast event, and they also now have a West Coast bracket and West Coast version. This is the first event.
Yeah. What do you think of the commentary?
We're gonna start there.
Usually we do, but I can just go into the round of 16 if you want.
Let's go into the round 16.
Okay.
Let's talk about.
Here we go.
Everyone who knows the show knows how I feel about Hanato. So let's go to the round of 16 first.
Andrew Tackett defeats Hashir Azam. Alexander Seaver defeats Andrew Bernanke. Kyle Perkins defeats Michael John. Dylan Faludo loses to Jordan Hawley, so Jordan Hawley wins that. Pedro Serrano defeats Matt Ferran. Chris Orozco defeats Kurt Chase Patrick. Alex Hody defeats Jimmy Morgan. Emilio Hernandez defeats Kyle Thomason.
So on to the quarterfinals.
All right.
So let's start here with the notes, because again, it just gets too long for us to do a show with every single fight for every single event for every single thing we do.
Also such a good place to start, because the quarterfinals begins with Andrew Tackett hitting a flying triangle immediately.
Yeah.
In fact, it happened so quickly that it missed while I was typing the names of the match.
Yeah, you're writing your notes out. And
I was
you're like,
right.
oh snap.
And then I was
okay.
like, wait, what? They're raising his hand already? It's just a textbook.
Dude, the match starts, and he's like, I'm going to be 15 or 7. How old is he?
I have no idea. I know he's in his teens, yeah.
The thing that messes me up always is we have both Tackett brothers. We have Andrew and William Tackett on this event.
Right.
Andrew Tackett was in the lightweight bracket, and his brother was on a super fight. And because we're just starting to cover these guys, I get confused.
Andrew's the older one.
I still get confused about the Miyao brothers.
Oh, yeah.
I know that Paulo's the one with the tooth.
Yes.
That's how I remember them.
Yeah, in this case, it's a dope collar tie to a flying triangle. Next up, we have Chris Orozco, Pedro Serrano defeating Chris Orozco by a high and tight armbar. This was just absolutely... Some of these arm bars are like, I wince when I look at them.
Dude, most of these arm bars, like every time we cover professional stuff, like we see tournaments, like I watch a lot of local tournaments, I coach a lot of local tournaments. I spend a lot of time in the gym, but at these pro events, dudes will fight the arm bar a little longer than I'm comfortable with, and freaks me out a little bit.
So next match, we have Jordan Hawley defeating Kyle Perkins, and the commentary was absolutely correct in describing Jordan Hawley as a savage. Within a minute, he hit a rolling heel hook on Kyle Perkins. So he was just clearly on a warpath to take legs this entire tournament. And it was one of those, like, oh, he's going for efficiency here. Like he's going for quick submissions.
That's what we see for a lot of times we see with the guys that win these kind of style sub-only tournaments is you get a guy that's really fresh versus a guy that's not as fresh at the end. And the guy that's fresh, more times than not, like, will take the whole event.
Right.
And so I think that's, again, everyone wants to finish quickly, but you see guys that are very, very good at finishing quickly. They have more gas tank. When you run into, the guys that have made it through their side of the bracket and are fighting you have more gas tank, and especially in these multiple different rounds, that means something in the finals.
So Emilio Hernandez defeats Alex Hody, and at this point, you gotta. This match is so shocking. Emilio hits a heel hook at the end, but the entire match is Alex Hody just pushing the pace. I mean, he's hitting trips to back takes to crucifixes to arm bars. Like he got this on Emilio with Emilio's leg also trapped. At one point, Alex hits a crucifix. He gets a Kimura grip. He gets another back take. He has just these.
He's throwing absolutely everything at him in this match in the kitchen sink.
Like the beautiful, it's these transitions that are so fluid and look like. It looks like he's drilling almost, like...
This is exciting nogi. These are the kind of nogi matches that we like a lot because it's guys that are being really, really active, and you're not seeing a 20-minute, pushing match on the feet. You see guys they're going down, they're transitioning, the guys are going for active subs and active positions, and they're not just I'm just going to fight the feet. No, I'm just going for top position subs, bottom position subs, like
all
back,
over.
Feet, legs, arms. Really, really dynamic match.
And despite Alex's dominance... Emilio at one point gets up and he shoots in for a leg entanglement, but rather than getting kind of like an inside Ashigarami, he triangles around both of Alex Hody's legs. So he has both of his legs trapped and his legs are crossed. And he basically has his choice of which ankle he wants to fucking yank apart. And so he just picks one of them and gets the submission.
We were suggesting this was an outside heel hook, was an inside heel hook, and then we watched the match again before we recorded here and went, that's a... Okay, it's just a heel hook.
It's just a heel hook. Like both the legs are on the inside of the
both
triangle.
Legs are technically on the outside too. It's like you can heel hook the inside and the outside
of the triangle. But yeah, it's such an exciting finish,
I don't recall
from behind finish like that.
I don't recall the last time I've seen this style of heel hook finish used. I think we saw a similar thing.
We saw one a couple months ago, I think.
Okay. The leg position is similar to what we saw in Quintet a while back, where you have both legs trapped with the triangle.
Oh yeah, with Gregor Gracie had that. Yeah, but he got the knee bar.
Yeah. I mean, but again, that's the closest thing I could think of for what I can push to what's an analogous match was the same triangling of the legs like that, but pretend instead of what Gregor had where the legs were out and in parallel, they were crossed on the chest. Really interesting position. You don't see a ton of finishes from there, so it's really cool to see a finish like this from there.
Yep. So then on to the semifinals.
What's a question mark there?
We have Andrew Tackett versus Jordan Hawley. It's an incredible match. It's such a good match.
This is one of the matches that I wanted to see going into the bracket.
So
I'm happy we got to see it.
I can only say just go back and watch it. It's both of these guys are tremendous. Yeah. Andrew ends up winning by escape time and overtime, but this is one of the few overtimes that the EBI overtimes that I'm not salty about, because the match was so good, know. And
the match was good, and then the overtime was okay. We have to pick a winner here. I don't want to necessarily.
This is our system for picking.
This is
the
system for the tournament. It was a really good match.
Really exciting on both sides. Next we have Emilio Hernandez versus Pedro Serrano. This was interesting because by this point both of these guys looked a little tired, and I only say that they weren't breathing hard. They were kind of both in the seated position attacking legs.
The pacing of the match I think changed a little bit too here.
It did, and Hanato actually said something that I agreed with, which was he said they look like coiled snakes, in how they were attacking each other's legs, and they were kind of grabbing leg locks, pummeling out, and then attacking their own leg locks. And Pedro starts, I think, at least twice. He goes for Estima locks against Emilio, and Emilio looks nonplussed, and he kind of just, lifts his leg out, and he relieves the pressure, and then, does his own heel hook attacks.
Estima locks, honestly, from the positions, they're hard to hit. Like
they're hard to
hit. You need to have a lot of control in order to really put enough pressure at a pro event to get a guy.
So here's the thing. I agree with you. When you don't have the positioning, you can kind of scoot out a little bit. But them and toe holds, I feel like...
Well, those are the same thing.
They are the same thing.
I mean, the mechanism of how you put the pressure is different.
Both of them are submissions that when they come on, they can come on faster than you can react.
Yeah. So it's like you're good. Okay, there's no way to relieve the pressure, and you're done.
You're done. And
there's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot of warning on them either. Like heel hooks will kind of pull. Toe holds go from good to like in like a half an inch.
So Pedro goes for an Estima lock, and he gets the grip, and then he tech stands up, and now Emilio is fucked because. At this point,
really technical analysis, Emil.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Right. Once a guy techs up with the Estima lock, because the escape for the Estima lock is basically to push into it to alleviate the pressure, or to like pull out of it. So if you're in this middle stage where it's like, okay, you can't
lift
pull,
your knee up a little bit. You know, you can rotate to alleviate the pressure,
but you can't alleviate enough.
You can't when someone's standing up, and this is really, it's unfortunate because it looks like Emilio suffers like a pretty serious injury, you know, and Pedro gets the win, but they have to like help him off, and yeah, I mean, it's
the finishing mechanics are really cool. It sucks the injury.
The injury happened. Respect the Estima lock. That's all I'm saying. If you are in a shootout, respect the Estima lock. And then in the final, we have Andrew Tackett versus Pedro Serrano. Pedro ends up winning by rear naked choke. At one point, Pedro goes for a straight ankle lock off of De La Riva, and Andrew puts his hand on the mat in kind of the turtle position to escape, and Pedro goes for a back take, goes to a calf slicer, straight to a twister, uses the twister grip to yank him across to get back control, and then sinks in a deep rear naked choke. It was one of those, again, the same kind of flow sequence that we see people do in drilling that looks gorgeous. So Pedro he's a savage, you know.
Really impressive, dude. And Tackett is the brother we just saw in the finals of the 80cc trials.
Yes.
Like 2 weeks ago.
And Pedro's here he's hitting stuff all across the board. It's not like he was going for only leg locks, only Estima locks.
Mm-hmm.
Like he hit a very broad array of submission attempts in the sequence to get to the back to do a straight up.
He's not just throwing up like one thing. It's like, okay, he has stuff from bottom.
He's got depth.
Again, a full rounded grappler on a guy like Andrew, who is a full like well rounded grappler. It's exciting, dude. This is why like the finishes and like this and guys like this are why I love covering these newer events and these quotes they're smaller events, is because you see super standout performances like this. You see cool finishes, and you see guys that you don't get to cover as much being showcased and winning like brackets like this.
So Midwest Finishers is up on YouTube. Go and check it out. It's a great event.
Yeah, it was great.
It's even the layout, you know, like they had both fighters' names.
Oh my god, the production! The production was
so great. Like you could see both fighters' names at all times. They also had next to up fighters, so you knew who was coming next. They had the time. They had all the information that you need to make it easy to stream these events. So
dude, it was great. Like I love, again, one of the biggest problems we have, because we cover a lot of events. We talk about it all the time. Not really bitching about it, but just as information, we cover a lot of different stuff. And so one of the biggest problems we have is when we're trying to do and get information together is when we're looking back to take notes or like to rewatch a match before we talk about it. If we have to go through a full event of video, it's really hard if there's no graphic for names. And a lot of times it'll actually make us be unable to cover stuff because we don't have the time to fully go back and be able to find the footage to effectively cover something. So when guys have the names up for the entirety and the duration of the match, as well as the time and as well as like who's up next, it helps us actually be able to scrub through the video to be able to find stuff. And when we say, oh yeah, go back and rewatch this match, it makes it a lot easier for you to find it because you can look and the names are up on the screen. So big props to them. That is a huge thing that we absolutely love promotions to do. So
and it helps the promotion, as you just said. Like I'm going to say this again. It helps for people, for newcomers who are coming in and they want to see, you know, a really highlight event or a highlight match from the event. They can go back and they can find it efficiently and, you know, and get hype and get excited about and tune in the future live. So,
well, the future event is going to be the welterweights happening on June 8th, 2019. So there's accepting applications for that now. If you're interested in being on the next one, they simply have applications up now. Put one in. On to our recap of Subspectrum 7. This event was main evented by Tex Johnson versus Matt Layton, as well as a bantamweight tournament for the men. This match was fast, to say the least.
It was quick, and it was awesome to see Tex Johnson takes the win by straight ankle lock. He does his absolute bread and butter. You know, we've seen him hit the straight ankle lock on just about everybody.
Dude, it's him. Basically, the match starts, and then Tex Johnson sprints across the mat to Matt Layton, and then, like, pushes him over, and they get in this, like, almost like single leg position, and then eventually, like, Matt kind of tries to sweep. Tex falls down with the ankle, and then you see the camera angle on the foot, and Tex looks like he almost has like a high straight ankle and is just crowbarring against Matt Layton's foot, and you see what looks like his shin bend.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't break, but you're like, oh my God, Tex Johnson is strong. And he's amazingly fresh. Oh, and you're in a gi, so there's even more friction, and he's able to get the tap.
When you see Tex get his forearm underneath an ankle, it's like it's almost like a given. You know, like I remember seseeing him just
so
get his
crazy
grips,
strong.
and I'm like, all right, that's over. He's got his submission. He's so proficient with the straight ankle lock.
I think somebody termed that he big brothered him.
Yeah.
He basically just grabbed it, and it was just amazing. Like, he gets to the position, he gets the ankle, and if you don't, like, start addressing that immediately, he just locks, and he just, like, with his chest and his back and every ounce of bench press I assume he's ever done, he just goes back on that submission, and he gets the tap, and it was super impressive. Like, Matt Layton is no joke, and fighting Matt Layton in the gi is even more impressive.
Yeah,
so.
And Josh Weinstock was particularly, like, jazzed about this matchup. Like, he was really looking forward to it. We all loved the submission. It was great. So congrats to Tex.
So definitely back watch. And the whole video is like 3 minutes long, and the match itself is probably a minute and a half long.
The video is up on Subspectrum's YouTube.
Yeah, and that's where the rest of the videos for the tournament are going to be up. So definitely go back. Definitely worth your time to go back and watch it. So speaking of Josh Weinstock, we've got him here now. The videos for Subspectrum were not out when Emil and I were doing the recap show, so it's Monday. Videos are now out, and we got Josh remotely finally. We're testing out this new remote setup. It sounds a lot better than last time. So how you doing, Josh?
Great. I'm sitting here, especially now that Maine can't see me via my camera. I'm completely naked.
Well, this got super weird all of a sudden. You guys are finding out like I am. This is what I deal with. This is what I've dealt with for like a year and a half on this show. Is this Josh? So let's start out with the first round of the women's 135 event. The first match of this was Hannah Sharp versus Sandy Salazar. And if you've seen the video going around, Hannah hits just, the only thing I can describe is a brutal Kimura, and ends up actually breaking Sandy Salazar's arm behind her.
Yeah, so it was like that slow crank where you probably are doing the hand hover, the almost tap, and then you don't, and then your shit gets broken.
Dude, it's one of the worst breaks I've seen. It's worse than like the Aoki break in Pride. It's worse than the Henzo break for Sakuraba. Like, the angle on it is really bad too, because you can see that like she sits up and the arm is still behind her. Not to like belabor this hugely, but it was just like you don't see this level of finish very often with the Kimura.
Well, I think what it was, because Gordon posted the video of it as well, Gordon Ryan, that is.
Yep.
That the elbow got dislocated as well, and it stayed out. So that's probably why it's stuck up in that position, is because the elbow also dislocated and just stayed out of its normal area. So
best of luck. Hope Sandy Salazar heals up quickly when you see her back. Arms heal up pretty well, so hope to see her back soon. Second match, we had Taylor Bongi defeating Kristen Campbell via ankle lock. Third match, we had Jessica.
Did you say Bongi?
Probably. Josh, I'm not the name guy, man.
Well, maybe you should let me read it then. It looks like Biaggi.
That's probably correct. My bad. Continue, Josh, with the names.
Okay, going on to match 3, Jessica Buckman defeated Mackenzie Manteris via knee bar. Match 4, this is, of course, the first round of the women's 135 tournament. Miranda Maverick defeated Jessica Van via armbar. Do you want to go over to the ladies semifinals? Do you want to get into the first round of the men's?
Let's finish up the ladies first, and let's go into the men's after.
Okay, so going into the semifinals of the ladies, Hannah Sharp defeated Taylor Biaggi via armlock, and Miranda Maverick defeated Jessica Buckman via not on there.
Defeated her. So into the finals match, we had Hannah Sharp versus Miranda Maverick. And Hannah finishes a really cool arm lock here. It's almost like a mirror lock from like the high guard, almost like a triangle high guard position. Really cool. I'm a big fan of this arm lock because she goes to stack out of it, and she's able to change the angle on the elbow and get another like great mirror lock from that closed guard position.
Was that sort of like not Bia Mesquita, Bianca Basilio's?
Yes,
EBI.
Kind of similar, but a different position. Yeah, but it's similar, like the same mechanics on the finish on that straight on the arm lock, but it's got the mirror lock kind of sideways position to it. Really good. She wins. She is now the women's 135-pound champion. Looked really good. Subbed her way to the finals, and I hope we see more from her. She's a woman, honestly, that I'm guessing I should be more familiar with, but I am not. So definitely one to watch moving forward. Want to go on to the men's?
Let's.
All right, let's move on to the men's. The first round of the men's 135-pound division. Josh.
Junny Ocasio defeating Alex Weaver via heel hook, and no one was shocked by that one.
Junny's really good, man. We're going to talk about him here in a minute for his finals match, but man, he's really good.
Sean Richmond defeating Justin Bibbs via injury. Austin Daffron defeating Jay Blue via heel hook. And Nate Williams defeating Eric Ford via guillotine. So you want to talk about Austin Daffron there, Maine?
Dude, Austin Daffron competes all the time. We're going to see him next week on, I blanked on the name, Ultimate Mat Warriors. He got the bid. He won the finisher 7 125ers. So it's funny that he's in this 135-pound division, and he's on next week at the 125ers for Ultimate Mat Warriors. So he's, again, another guy, and we see him in the finals here against Junny in a couple matches. Dude looked really good.
Oh, so what you're saying is spoilers. Anyway.
Yeah, man, if you've got this far on the show, you're in the spoiler territory. This happens.
Junny Ocasio defeated Sean Richmond via knee bar. And Austin Daffron defeated Nate Williams via overtime by points.
So let's talk about the finals match. Junny Ocasio defeats Austin Daffron via what Junny called and what Eddie Cummings calls a Z-lock.
It's a weird fucking hip lock.
I don't really know how to describe. That's really the best way to describe it. It's just a really weird, like, it looks like it attacks the LCL and it attacks the hip in like a very strange same side kind of way. I don't know if I've ever seen this kind of lock done, and it's something these guys drill and do. And Eddie Cummings put out a video on his Instagram of actually how the technique works and the mechanics behind it. And it's really cool because we have 2 different videos of Junny hitting this in competition from 2 different angles. That coupled with the Eddie video, this is something that I feel like we're going to immediately see more of.
Yeah, I mean, the way from the Eddie breakdown, it looks like he hits outside ashi while having the footlock control on the opposite leg. And then he C-cups the outside of the leg and pushes it upwards, so it makes the leg almost Kimura, if you will, sort of like what Imanari did to what's his name, George Gurgel in Japan, and how George Gurgel's knee has been permanently fucked up because of that.
Thanks, Imanari.
So I don't know, it's really interesting. It'll be fun to play with, fun to piss people off with it.
I think it's crazy that like this is something that they drill, and it's just like it's just crazy, like to find new positions like this that you haven't seen guys hit in competition, and then Junny hits it in competition. It's like, oh no, we drill this. This is something I do. You're like, Jesus. Yeah. So that was a cool finish. I love like unorthodox finish like this, especially in the finals match. So Junny is now the 135-pound champion for Sub Spectrum. So let's move on to the feature matches.
Let's. Jake Bauer defeating Derek Flagg via triangle. And we just saw Derek this past weekend. So, I mean, a lot of these guys are really...
Dude, that super fight, like that sub-only and super fight like scene is we're covering the same guys. And like we first saw Derek Flagg as a blue belt on the Onnit Invitational with his fastest. He got like $500 for fastest sub. And it's just like that gets you on the map. And like gets these guys. We're starting to see the same guys on these like super fight sub only events, and it's awesome. Like I love that there's like a whole like a league of guys.
Yeah, it's really awesome, and getting to know these people and communicating with them and making contact with them. It's pretty nifty.
Yeah, super nifty. Next match.
Stephen Gladhill defeating Jose Urbina via overtime by points. Jace Vivera defeating Anthony Bell via collar choke. Yeah, big fan of that. Big fan of the collar chokes. Ramses Bugarin defeating Nate Fenton via overtime points. Hunter Colvin, another guy that we see a whole lot.
Last week, dude, on Combat Jiu-Jitsu, he beat Kyle Bain.
Yep. He defeated Adam Bradley via overtime points. The rematch, or how many? What is this? The third time they've met?
This is the rematch. So last time, Keith Krikorian versus John Battle, and Keith gets the victory via inside heel hook. We previously saw John get the victory by knee bar at finishers 3, I think. And so it's like, I love this because this sets up the rubber match between these two guys. They're both brown belts. These dudes are going to run into each other again at black belt. This was a leg lock extravaganza between these two guys. Both guys just entering into the legs unabashedly from the bottom, from the top, and super comfortable in all of those leg entanglements.
Super comfortable, but Battle looked like he was more trying to go for the back more than like really just take the legs. He wanted full control. It seemed to be anyway.
He seemed like he looked like he wanted the back, and then a couple times he would shoot for the arm, like that really, really nice, like completely 180 armbar he does, like step over armbar. He's really good at that. And we've seen him nail guys with that in competition. I mean, we've seen his highlight reels of doing that to guys, and he's been very, very successful with that. So he shoots for that a couple times, but Krikorian eventually just able to get it done, gets leg control, locks up the heel hook, and gets the finish. Again, really fun match. Impressed with both guys as always. What else you got for this, Josh?
Not much. I mean, it was an awesome match. It was cool seeing them both just really, really go at it, not sit around and, try to be conservative. They just went after each other.
It's awesome. So Neil and I already talked about the Tex Johnson versus Matt Layton match, but you were super excited about this. So do you have anything you want to add to what we talked about?
Again, Tex Johnson, like the dude is just taking every single opportunity to compete. He doesn't give a shit. This was in the gi, which I kind of thought it was not a bad matchup, but not geared towards what he's aiming for. And
Layton's also a really, really heavy, like lapel, like spider guard, like gi guy. Like he tries to tie you up with that middle long range, and Tex is, gearing up for ADCC, which is not at that range at all.
Tex didn't give a shit, as you probably talked about with Emil. Tex just came forward, tried to dive right over into mount, essentially, and Tex just came at that middle ground area and just didn't give a shit. And he got swept over for it, but he didn't care because he grabbed that straight ankle lock and he just fucking moosed it. It's like I really can't think of a better word.
There's not really a more technical term. Like he gets it in. He puts every ounce of bench press that he can do into it, and it looked like he was gonna break the shin bone. Like it looked brutal.
Like I'm trying to think of something that, what it reminds me of? Anytime in Revenge of the Nerds when Ogre would have something in his hands and then break it while screaming nerds, that's how I imagine he was treating Matt Layton's leg. Just like, nerds! And trying to break it. And probably I've just alienated 90% of our audience because they have no fucking idea what I'm talking about.
And you've blown out the audio, so I got to fix that now. So
I blew it out remotely. I've got skills.
Yeah, Josh, that's one way to put it. So that's all I got for Sub Spectrum. You got anything else, Josh?
What's his name? Ding Dong, Sherbert Santos, Herbert.
Oh, you want to throw that in now?
Yeah, fuck it.
All right, so it's Monday, March 4th, and usually in the news section we put this, but Josh and I just saw that Herbert Santos looks like he's been pulled off of Kasai Pro 5.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people are jumping on and making sure that he doesn't fucking cause any issues. He doesn't cartwheel into the fucking crowd and crowd kill him and try to walk on fucking heads and stage dive on people. Yes, I'm making more hardcore references to the one person that commented on our Instagram that they thought the crowd kill reference was funny. So
I just think it's crazy. Like, what other guy at whatever world champion, like young world champion, has alienated himself so hard so quickly? Like, he's always been a wild guy, but man, the community kind of really is done with him now, like quickly.
Well, think about this. The guy's like a giant fucking baby, and he was like, all this shit happened, and here's my video, and here's all this, and people on YouTube were like, you're a fucking moron. None of this would have happened had you not said, my knee, and went sprinting at like 800 miles an hour at somebody, knocked over a woman, started a fight, and then when it sort of calmed down, went after another guy, and then said, oh, well, these guys like kicked me in the stomach and stuff when I was down. It was like, yeah, after you attacked somebody twice, like.
So yeah, again, everyone's seen the video. That is last week's news, but it's interesting that they've actually pulled him off that event. So
and I wonder if there's going to be further repercussions for other things. I wonder if IBJJF is going to do anything, because again, the people that ran BJJ Stars reached out to a bunch of people and they were like, don't put him on things.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious to see how it develops as time goes on. So onto the preview section, onto the preview of Fight to Win 104 in Dallas, Texas. This event is main evented by a 210-pound black belt no-gi match. I always call him Rafael Lovato Jr. versus Yuri Simoes.
That's going to be savage.
That's an amazing match. Like, I cannot express how amazing that is. I think this is probably for the title, because Lovato has the title. I think he just defended it against Hinger a little bit ago, and then before that he defended against Spriggs, and before that, like, Lovato's had this title for a while, and so Yuri's a dude that I think can really potentially, make him have to work, and potentially could take that title from him. He's got an ADCC two-time champion, 2017, 2015, multiple-time IBJJF world champion, all through the color belts. Not a black belt yet, but again, like,
yeah, he's incredible.
Stupid good accolades. Again, both guys have stupid good accolades, so that is going to be a real exciting matchup. I'm looking forward to that. And Lovato gets the rule set and gets it well and goes for the finish, so that should be just amazingly fun. Next, we have a Masters black belt welterweight gi title, Rafael Formiga Barbosa versus Nick Green. I think this would be Nick Green's first crack at a title.
Yeah,
for black belt for Fight to Win.
Yeah,
so that'll be really exciting. He's been, again, we talked about him this week. Been super active, winning a ton on Fight to Win. Reffing a ton, super active, knows the rule set, looked good, subbing guys. So this, again, that's a big step up in competition, but that should be a really good matchup as well. We have a female black belt welterweight gi title, Nathiely Jesus versus Tatiana Nogueira. Again, another good matchup. Dude, this is awesome. This is an awesome bracket.
Yep.
Holy crap.
185-pound black belt gi match, DJ Jackson versus Manuel Hibamar. Yeah, that's a fucking stacked card already.
Dude, that's just like the main event in like
those
co-main events.
Those are headliners.
The headliners.
Those are the headliners. Now on to judo, this is the first multiple match judo event that Fight to Win is putting on.
So we're not just having one-off matches. We're actually going to have a number of different judo matches on Fight to Win, which is exciting.
Three black belt judo matches. We have Geronimo Saceda versus Nyamachir Sanjara. That's 200-pound black belt. At 180 pounds, we have Ryan Resser versus Eric Kierkegaard. At 225 pounds, we have Alan Shabaro versus Garrett Andrews.
And on to the black belts for the rest of the card. We have a 205-pound black belt no-gi bout.
Michael Alexander versus Tony Trammell.
205-pound black belt gi match.
Georgie Perez versus Seth Daniels.
Yeah, Seth Daniels. Dude, back-to-back weeks.
I know.
Team no
busy.
sleep. 195-pound black belt no-gi bout.
Kyle Ramsich versus Tony Tipton.
185-pound black belt gi match.
Sina Haddad versus Angel Lopez.
185-pound black belt gi match.
Matthew Waltman versus Leandro Machado.
180-pound black belt gi match.
Vinicius Agudo versus Vinicius Garcia.
Vinicius on Vinicius match. 175-pound black belt gi match.
Davi Garau versus Jonathan Hunter.
170-pound black belt gi match.
Michael Fowler versus Randall Kennedy.
160-pound black belt gi match.
Mateus Gabriel versus Justin Rice.
That's a good matchup. 155-pound black belt gi match.
Jordan Gomez versus Juan Tatum.
145-pound black belt judo bout.
This is Nathan Kearney versus Shane Burns.
I'm not sure why this is listed on the bottom there, not where it was. And then the next matchup is another great match. It was amazing. This is not a headliner either. 150-pound black belt no-gi bout.
Tracy Goodell versus Chelsea Lyons.
Chelsea Lyons. Dude, that's amazing. This is a great card.
This is a stacked card. This is unbelievable.
Where is this at? This is Dallas?
Yeah.
Dude, the Texas cards have been really, really good recently.
Off the chain.
So under the brown belts, we have a 185-pound brown belt Masters gi title.
Bobby Alexander versus Wally Thompson.
We have a super heavyweight brown belt gi title.
Reggie Jeff versus Mark Buttendari.
Yep, and then after that, we have a number of other bouts.
This is a very, very deep card.
Oh my God, yeah.
Just all of the fucking black belt judo, black belt jiu-jitsu. It's going to be a ton of fun.
We also have a teens title bout. We have a teen bantamweight gi title.
Jesse Crane versus Emily Fernandez.
So do not miss this one. This is awesome. Like I'm amped about this card. Like I love watching Lovato, and like there's like 6 or 10 guys that we see on a regular basis that I'm super excited about. Aside from like all the standard talent that we see that's like more local talent getting showcased, there's guys that have been flown out to this one. So this should be an outstanding event. So on to our preview of the 2019 Abu Dhabi King of Mats, the lightweights. This is happening in London, Great Britain on March 10th. And Emil's not here, so we got Josh to preview because I realized Emil and I previewed the Abu Dhabi, like the Grand Prix event. We forgot to preview the lightweights, and I was like, oh no. Sweet, we got Josh here. So Josh is going to jump back into the show here and help me preview it.
Yeah, other than, me sounding like I got into a fight and punched in the nose repeatedly, I'm getting over a really bad cold. So if you're like, wow, he sounds more ridiculous than he normally does, that's why.
So let's move on. I don't know why that made me laugh. You being sick. Finally, like someone else is not as fucked up as me.
No, you're still worse. You have a broken back.
Yeah, it's getting better, I think, though. Or I'm on tons of ibuprofen, so...
Oh, I can't wait till the stomach lining gets eaten away and all of the acid in your stomach eats away at all of the rest of your organs.
Yeah, it's doing that now. So on to this preview of this event. So we have Gianni Grippo. You read the names. I'm going to stop reading the names.
On to Gianni Grippo. Oh, wait, no, probably said that wrong. Josh, take it away. So far what we have here, I'm assuming they're running it like the last one where they're kind of round robining it.
Yep, there's 2 groups, usually a group A or group B or a green group or a yellow group. They have pick what they call the groups. Group A and B is usually what King of Mats calls it. So we don't know who is in which group yet. Group A, everyone in round robins it. The 4 guys in that group fight. And then Group B, the 4 guys round robin. And then the winners of each bracket by points go and fight each other. And the third place guys fight each other as well.
Yep. Okay, so Gianni Grippo is in there. Paulo Miyao. So this will be interesting. We get to see what goes on.
They're definitely going to beat in this event. I think Grippo just beat him for the first time, what about 4 to 6 months ago? So,
yeah.
Be interesting.
Isaac Doderlin, who is, a sleeper in this one and technically part of Alliance. So I'm interested to see if they're going to put him and Grippo in the same bracket. Hiago George, perennial contender, where you see him in all of these Abu Dhabi events. It's great. He's a badass. We have Carlos Alberto da Silva, or Bebeto, who is, what a hoss that dude is. Nobuhiro Sawada. I love these Japanese guys.
Dude, we love, a bunch of the guys out of Carpe. Is he at Carpe Diem or is he out of a different gym or stable?
I think Sawada is not in Carpe Diem. I think he's in a different gym, and I can do a check. But, all the Japanese guys are always super, super wild. So
yeah,
we'll add it in at another time, but it is what it is. Sorry, I had to stop and cough, and I muted my mic.
I appreciate that, Josh. I don't have to edit it out now. So on to the next person in this bracket.
Okay, Celso Vinicius, again, another guy that we see all the time, multiple-time world champion. We'll see how that goes. He didn't have a great outing at the BJJ Stars event, but hopefully that was just a little stumble, and he will return to his usual form.
we're in Abu Dhabi, so it's that 6-minute match format. It's not the 10-minute match format. So the difference in time, we might see a different performance out of him, different speed out of him than we saw at BJJ Stars.
Possibly. Also coming out of Brazil, João Gonçalves, or apparently he's best known as João Paulo Neto, someone that I have not heard of before, so it'll be interesting.
No, we've covered him before. You've seen him
have
before.
We?
Yeah. It's one of the Brazilian guys with the multiple names that gets super confusing, and also he's got the most Brazilian name, which is João.
Oh, okay. I probably have then. Also in the division is Thiago Bravo, who we definitely have seen a boatload. And a late replacement, Luis Fernando Costa Vieira. So this will be very interesting.
I love this format.
Least. I love these lightweight guys always going at it. It's definitely more exciting than the big guys most of the time. So it'll definitely be an event to watch. Man, I can't even think. This cold is still making me semi-stupid.
So, all right. Well, then I appreciate it, Josh. Thanks for the preview, and go and blow your nose and feel better. So we're basically gonna cut back into the rest of the previews now, and the audio is gonna change from Josh to Emil. So anything else you want to say, Josh, before you head out?
I'm not actually naked, and I am going to watch that Lady Gaga movie now.
All right. See you soon, Josh.
See ya.
So on to our preview of the 2019 Abu Dhabi Grand Slam in London. This event takes place on Saturday, March 9th for the black belts. And given that it is a major UAEJJF event that is streaming on Flow Grappling, we're going to do a short preview of the black belts that we are excited to see. Again, this is not in any way include all of the black belts that register for the event, but it's just some of the guys that we've covered before that we typically like to pay attention to for these major events as much as we can. So, onto the male black belt adults at the 62-kilogram division.
We have Joao Miyao on there, Fernando Soares,
Hiago George is on there.
We'll read through kind of the major names because there's a lot of people.
There's just so many people. We cover the big guys that we look at. We have Cole in the the 69-kilogram division. We have Cole Franson, we have Thiago Bravo, we have Paulo Miyao, we have João Neto, and we have Isaac Doderlin and Maximilio Campos.
Under 77 kilograms, we have
Tommy Pulkinen. We have Emil. Stop going so fast. Go up again.
Yep.
Diego Ramos. I mean, I can never give his name. Hamalo. Jesus. Let's see. Who else do we have? A bunch of other Brazilian gentlemen that I do not know. And names I can't pronounce.
Under 85 kilograms.
We have Lucas the Hulk Barbosa. We got Igor Souza and Manuel Filo. That's a good division.
94 kilograms.
We have Devontae Bones Johnson. I always want to call him Jones. It's not. It's Devontae. This is, I think, might have been the first event that we've seen him in for UAEJJF at black belt. It probably isn't.
He's in there with Kanan Duarte and Adam Wardzinski. So
that's a fun division.
It's a fun division, like for sure. And then at the under 110 kilogram, we have
Ricardo Evangelista,
a couple other people.
Helton Silva Jr.
Yep, Pedro Agrizi. So it's going to be good. Absolutely tune in.
Definitely. So on to our preview of the grappling industry's Tim Spriggs versus Craig
Jones.
Quaig Jones, not Craig. Craig Jones. This event's taking place in Philly. I'm on March 10th. I might be going up to this one.
Hell yeah, dude.
I don't know. I've always wanted to see Craig Jones live, and I might not be able to wait to ADCC. And it's like an hour and a half drive on a Saturday. I'm like, if I'm not teaching at the time this happens, I might just go, hey, Rich, I'm going out for a little bit, and then go to Philly.
Duck out for a couple hours,
it's
come
like,
back.
How long is it going to be? Like, it's a no time limit match. Like, it'll be, an hour? So it's like an hour and a half drive to Philly. Like, watch a couple hours of jiu-jitsu, get a cheesesteak, drive back, and then, watch more jiu-jitsu.
There you go.
So, that could be my day.
It's a nice day.
So, this is a fun matchup. We've seen Spriggs just be super active recently. We saw him this last weekend on Spyder. I want to say we saw him the weekend before on something else, and then the weekend before. We've seen him be super active recently. We've seen Craig Jones also being super active. We just saw him choke Gabriel Arges out at GrappleFest 4.
Yep.
So both guys coming off, both guys going to ADCC. Are they in the same weight class? Or is Jones one weight class below Spriggs?
I honestly can't remember.
We previewed it. If you're curious about that, at the beginning of the show we talked about it. Hopefully you remember better than we do. So this should be a fun matchup. I literally have no idea how these guys will match up. I assume this is a no-gi bout, but I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I usually stream these on Facebook on the not the Grappling Rewind page, on the
Grappling
Industries page, and I usually try to link it over when I see it go live onto our page. So you should be able to find it in both locations. Super excited about it. I like watching both these guys, so it's a cool showcase super fight event that they're having.
Yep.
So Kasai is having a pro qualifier for their 205-pound division on March 9th. I keep looking at the dates, and I have them written out. I keep looking at 3 and not knowing what month it is.
March
9th. It should be streaming on Flow Grappling. That's what we've heard. That's what they've posted, but we're not quite sure. We can't quite find links to it yet. So hopefully they will be streaming that qualifier on Flow Grappling. You can watch it. I think it happens at Barch College. Super exciting. We've seen a lot of fun guys come out of this qualifier, so it's definitely an event to keep an eye on Kasai's page to figure out who's going to be featured in Kasai Pro 5 in April. Should be a lot of fun. Definitely worth your time. So on to our preview of SOGI 1 happening on March 9th. It's going to be streaming on their official YouTube page. This event features a gang of matches. It has a bantamweight tournament, a welterweight tournament, a middleweight tournament, and a heavyweight tournament, as well as a number of other super fights within the card as well. And we're going to start with this one.
Well, we'll start with what we know. So middleweight bracket opening round, we have Brian Anwin versus potentially Zach Edwards.
Yeah, I think it actually is Zach Edwards. Now, we got this a couple days ago, but looks like Zach Edwards. We just saw Zach Edwards win via heel hook on Men of War 5 this weekend. We're actually not going to get to cover Men of War Pro because we honestly just had too much other stuff. But so he's coming off a win, and he's coming off a win the weekend before on finishers. Yep. So super active, been winning a lot by heel hook.
Next we have Danny Cisneros versus Steven Kasten. We have David Michael versus John Ritter, and we have Mike Rakshin versus Stephen Tonger.
Onto the welterweight bracket opening round.
Rob Best versus Tom Selmer.
Dude, Rob Best is the guy that had the great match with Andrew Cockle.
Yep,
back
absolutely.
At finishers. That was super exciting in the overtime there.
Yeah, savage. Tony Gatto versus Rene Souza. Nick Gullo versus Zach Edwards. Abdul Nasir versus Jarbim Pacheco. Tito Hartz, Dave Della Roca versus Dave Della Roca.
We have some mid-card super fights.
Sterling Nessinger versus Austin Cooper. James Urizo versus Ryan Gilligan.
Then we have the opening bracket of the welterweights, the second round of the welterweights. I think these guys will have.
They're just splitting it up a little bit, yeah. So then we have Merlin Ramos, his opponents to be decided. Tito Hartz, same. David Della Roca, same.
Then we have a number of other super fights.
Sophia Casal versus Alyssa Pellin. Kaylee Matasagu versus Miranda Yost. Nicole Kent versus Kelsey Singh.
And then we move on to the bantamweight tournament.
Junny Ocasio versus Jeremy Ruiz. John Stapleton versus Sam McCauley.
That's Sam Michael.
That's
SOGC 7 Sam Michael.
Are we doing this? I know. I know. I remember him. I just can't remember how to pronounce his last name.
I thought it was Michael, wasn't it? Or did we mess it up? My bad, Sam. We messed up your name again.
Sorry, Sam.
We just saw John Stapleton this last week or 2 weeks ago on finishers. So I think he had a super fight, and he was in the tournament as well. So super active. We just saw Junie this weekend win the bantamweight tournament at Sub Spectrum. So and he finished all 3 of his guys by submission. So again, he's a dude to watch. He's definitely a dude to watch for this bantamweight tournament.
Also to watch in the heavyweight round 1, we got Nick Rodriguez, none other than
the show pony.
That's
himself.
Right. From ADCC West Coast.
And from last week on finishers as well.
That's right.
He won by a single leg back take.
So Nick Rodriguez is going against Andrew Tavay. Dirk Kalinsky is going against Ricky Colmel.
And we have a number of other super fights.
We have Katya Leon Tivia versus Kelly Chan.
We have a main event female super fight.
Rhodes Faraday versus Alanis Santiago.
And we have a special match.
Setente Quattro versus Lee Hay.
And we have a main event super fight.
Aaron Harris versus Vincent Moro.
So, again, this event takes place on March 9th and is going to be streamed on the official SOGI YouTube page. Take a look at it. So, moving on to our preview of the Ultimate Mat Warriors 4. This event also takes place on March 9th and is a 125-pound flyweight 16-man tournament. This is exciting because the winner of the Finishers Invitational back finishers, I think 7, was Daffron. And he actually got a bye into this tournament for the 125ers. So this is super exciting. We love covering Ultimate Mat Warriors. They haven't had an event in a while, but the last one was really exciting, so we're amped to preview this one. So in the flyweight bracket, we have
Albert Tapia, Austin Daffron, Bo Brooks, Brendan Lim, Bryce Harley, George Sadas, Grant Yamashita, Ned Johnson, Jesus Urbina, Manuel Fossil Priego, Marcelo Cohen.
Marcelo Cohen's a dude to watch in this. That dude is a pretty high-level black belt, usually ranked in like the top 10 for IBJJF rooster weights in the world, so he's a dude definitely to watch in this tournament.
Martin Davila, Mickey Sanchez, Roberto Duran, Badai Quiros, and Taylor McCorriston.
The event also features a bunch of other super fights. We're going to talk about a couple of them just because we're going super long in this evening.
So we got Stephen Martinez versus
Jesse Taylor. That's going to be a really fun one. We've seen both those guys been super active recently. Jesse Taylor's usually on it, but it's cool to see him, going to Ultimate Mat Warriors for a bout.
Yeah. Next up, we have Kyle Chambers versus Johnny Souza.
So that'll be another exciting match. I think Kyle Chambers, this will be the first or second time since getting his black belt that we've covered him. He might have been on trials, but I don't remember. So those are 2 super fights. There's like 6 or 8 other super fights on the card that all look really good. So be sure to check it out. Should be a lot of fun. You can find the event on YouTube as well. So that does it for this week on the Grappling Rewind podcast. You got anything else going on, Emil?
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was fucking awesome.
Dude, I've heard that from a bunch of people.
It's so fucking good, man.
Like, I know absolutely nothing about it. Apparently, like, everything is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Or something. Like, there's, like, every character is Spider-Man.
They have, like, a bunch of different Spider-Mans come in. But, yeah, basically, it was them introducing Miles Morales, even though he's been in the comics for, like, since 2011.
Who?
Miles. Dude.
I know.
There's a new Spider-Man.
I know. Okay.
He's half Puerto Rican.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you fucking with me?
No.
That's awesome.
He's also like
Wait, he's a half Puerto Rican Spider-Man?
Yeah, he's half black, half Puerto Rican, and he fucking rocks like Air Jordan 1s. It's fucking great.
That's awesome.
And they did. It's just.
Is it animated or is it like
it's
live
animated?
Action? Okay.
They have Peter Parker obviously in there, as like OG Spider-Man, and yeah, it's fucking great. It's just great. It's a ton of fun. You don't need to be into comics to love it.
Is it in theaters?
So it's in select theaters, and I think it's getting a full theatrical release.
Okay, so it's a thing I can
awesome.
go watch.
Go and watch
I'm not a big comic book guy. Like everyone gives me so much shit for I just can't it just doesn't get me going.
You don't have to be into comics.
I watch too much jiu-jitsu to be into anything else that's not jiu-jitsu. So you're telling me take a minute here and go to a theater and then watch Into the Spider-Verse. Sweet. So anything else aside from cool ass movies going on?
That's it, man.
You just been super busy.
Super busy
doing life stuff. You back next
watching
week?
UFC. Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah. Wait, any other UFC stuff you want to talk about since
just non sequiturs. Hilarious watching Cody Garbrandt get fucking his clock cleaned.
Do the same strike though. Yeah. 3 fights
overhand.
in a row. He's gotten knocked out by that same
fucking overhand.
It's like a check left hook. Yeah, it's a
looping
right hook.
They were throwing haymakers at the very end of that.
It's so weird though. He can be so technical. We saw him outbox and outmove Dominic Cruz, and then he just he went back to
he gets
knock
emotional
out Cody.
And yeah.
It's he's so good. He's obviously so good. It was such a weird thing. And then we saw John Jones
just break another human being.
John Jones stuff, man.
Dude,
he's so he's scary. Who's he gonna fight now?
I don't
you
know,
can't fight.
man.
You can't fight.
I'm also so done with him. I used to be a John Jones apologist, and there's nothing to say. I mean, at this point, the UFC, he's a liability to MMA broadly now. I think he is doing damage, and they're not understanding that.
That's reasonable. He's good though, man.
He's fucking
good. I want to see him fight. I just want to put him in stasis, Han in the carbonite.
Yeah,
and then I want them to wheel him out to the weigh-ins, for them to uncarbonite him, get him on the scale. He flexes and smiles. You put him back in, and you wheel him to the cage.
Any trouble?
He comes back out.
Give him whatever kind of fucking steroids. Give everyone the same kind of steroids.
And then you wheel him back out to the cage. Man, do steroids. I don't care. Like, I want to see the biggest. Like, I want pride.
Here's the thing.
We all want pride.
The thing that bugs me about Jon Jones is, I get what you and Josh talked about, like where it's like you want to see athletes at their peak, regardless.
Oh no, I want to see voided freaks.
Right.
I hope I made that clear. Like I want to see athletes at their peak, but I also want to see beyond the peak into like science experiments.
I see what you're saying, and I could see that if they just dropped the rules for everybody. But the fact that they're specifically giving Jon Jones like an okay on this, while like other people don't have the same fucking okay, is like. That's what's killing me.
It's only picograms, man. It's only picograms. No one knows what that means unless you've actually studied science, and they're like, that's actually kind of a lot of metabolite in your body still.
Well,
not gonna lie. So, but whatever. We saw him break a grown man and win a decision.
We saw also Usman fucking break a grown man.
That was even more impressive.
That was
Like it was weird to see Woodley have like it. I don't want to say no answer, but it looked like he had no answer. That was, I love stats and I love rules. That was the largest striking differential in a
main event
fight. No, in a title fight. Not a main event. I think was still Mark Hunt and Stipe.
Got it.
But in like a 5-round title fight, that was the largest striking differential ever. I think Woodley threw like 60 strikes and Usman threw like 283 or like 3. It was some like he got outstruck by like 280
He fucking
strikes.
Khabibed him.
It was such a weird fight because Woodley backs up to the fence, and that's what he does. Like he backs up to the fence, and Usman's the first guy in a while, but Woodley's back up to the fence since like Strikeforce.
Yeah,
and it's the first guy we've seen in really ever that could like just you're gonna back up to the fence. Oh, cool! I'm the best dude in the world at backing dudes up to the fence and taking them down the fence.
It's not just taking him down; it's like maintaining that level of fucking savage pressure. Like, it's just like watching.
It wasn't
just
particularly damaging. Like Khabib gets on the fence and takes you down and damage. Like
I think it was plenty damaging. Like
it was mostly to the body. There was a lot of body.
When he was like repeatedly punching him, Woodley in the left ribs. Like it looked excruciating. I think Woodley has a really good poker face, but like
he definitely has a good poker face.
It looked brutal, man.
I think the craziest thing about all of this is that we covered Fight to Win 103, Subspectrum, Midwest Finishers, Spyder Korea. I watched a little bit of Men of War.
Nice.
And we still both watched the UFC.
Yeah.
And it's just like this was between Friday evening, and it's Sunday at 7:00.
So I watched this with Rob, with Sheely, and with Zay, and like we all like looked at each other and we were like, so we're watching this because of Ben Askren, right? And everyone was like, yep.
a little bit.
No, it was exactly like we were all tuning in for Ben Askren.
Dude, you got it done though.
Yeah, you got it done.
He took a beating, but he proved he can take a beating and get it done.
It was an entertaining fight. So
that does it. Again, I think we should put MMA at the end of the show like this.
Yeah, I don't mind like dipping in for like an interesting like.
Yeah, hey, some stuff happened. Yeah. It was impressive. Like it was technical too. He pushed him on the fence, and we saw like, oh god, he's on the fence.
Yep.
So that does it for the Grappling Rewind. As always, I'm Maine.
I'm Emil.
And we will see you on the mats. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We have Google+.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
let us know.
Reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.